Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the Millennial Mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful friends and loyal listeners. It's such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. Also, remember that we're now on TV. Tune in at impact.kpmedia.tv and catch A Moment of Zen on the Impact Live channel Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern. All episodes are now available on demand. We have such a great show lined up for you today. In our influencer segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames, we are featuring Rubina Bernabe, a celebrity pro skater and influencer. And today we are chatting about the popularity of roller skating, so much so that a roller rink is set to open at Rockefeller Center this spring for the very first time in decades. Now, it's created in partnership with Tishman Speyer and Flipper's Roller Boogie Palace, and we are having an estimated opening date of June 16th. Now, in our Business and Buzz segment brought to you by Revere Securities, we are featuring Brett Berish, President and CEO of Sovereign Brands, home of Luc Belair, The Goat, Boom Boo Original, McQueen and the Violet Fog, and lastly, Vion, the French Revolution and fine liqueurs. And today we are chatting digital marketing and Sovereign Brands' vision. In our Millennial Mom segment brought to you by Viche, Cucina, we are featuring Sari Katz, dermatologist, PA, advanced cosmetic injector, and co-founder of Velour Medical. She and I are chatting with teen entrepreneur Fiona Frills, CEO of clean beauty brand Frilliance. And today we are chatting about the clean beauty range and how important all natural, sustainable ingredients truly are to this generation. And how do they really feel about Botox? We'll get Fiona's thoughts in just a bit. In our Crypto Frontier segment brought to you by CCP Digital, we are joined by Chris Pulley, CEO of CCP. And today he is joined by Mr. Jim Rao, founder and managing partner of eToro Capital. Now, we are chatting about the rise of digital currencies in our current environment and the rules and regulations surrounding them. Stay tuned for our influencer segment. We'll be right back with Rubina Burnaby. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OGPAY, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OGPAY is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out OGPAY.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Now, up next, we have our influencer segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames. And today we are featuring Rubina Burnaby, a celebrity pro roller skater, influencer, and advocate for gender neutrality. Now, she's a Filipino-American born and raised in Los Angeles, California. And today we are chatting about the popularity of roller skating, so much so that a roller rink is set to open at Rockefeller Center right here in New York City this spring for the first time in decades. And it's created in partnership with Tishman Speyer and Flipper's Roller Boogie Palace. Now, the rink is going to bear the Flipper's name and is the latest element in Rock Center's campus-wide redevelopment. Now, this rink is being revived by Liberty Ross, daughter of Ian Flipper Ross, who ran the original legendary cultural hotspot in the late 70s and early 80s. And this is the first time since 1940 that Rockefeller Center rink will feature roller skating in the warmer months. The original Flipper's Roller Boogie Palace was a family-run business in West Hollywood, LA, that served as a mecca for uninhibited fun for those who love roller skating. And Flipper's Roller Boogie Palace returns to New York City with the mission of uniting people through the joy of roller skating. Now, the addition of Flipper's Roller Boogie Palace Palace is the latest in Rock Center's renovation, and the opening of the roller rink coincides with a reopening of the rink level following a lot of extensive work to restore the vision of the original architects. And here to chat some more and help me ring in the skater news is Rubina Burnaby. Welcome to the show, Stunner.
Yes, thank you so much. So happy to be here. Thank you.
I couldn't think of anyone better to help me commemorate this joyous time in New York City, and I love roller skating and the energy it brings. So you tell me, fast forward to 2020, at the height of the pandemic, you get laid off, you get stuck in quarantine, you need a new hobby, as did all these millions. You start roller skating as a way to get more, outside time. We were all trying to find that. And you created an Instagram account to track your progress. And kind of from day one, this skyrocketed for you. And now you've been uploading these tutorials on, how to roller skate from your, perspective, beginner, now advanced, whatnot. And you've amassed all of these followers, close to 55,000 followers. Talk to me about how you are doing this.
I feel like I got lucky, or right time, right place. I was at a point in my life where I didn't care anymore what anyone else thought about me. You know what I mean? I created an account willing to share the fails, the falls, all of it. I was not good. And it resonated with people who were also just trying to be better versions of themselves, whether it was through roller skating or just in general life. So I created my account, and the people just instantly, it was almost instantaneous. We're like, this is so refreshing to see someone trying, just giving it all without worrying about the opinions of the other people. I mean, it was the internet, you know what I mean? So yeah, I created tutorials to help fellow beginners. I called them beginner for beginner tutorials, meaning I don't really know what I'm doing, but maybe this will help you in your journey.
Yeah. So talk to me about the vision you have with this newfound roller skating fame. Like, what's your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal is to help other people believe that it's never too late, whether it is roller skating or not. The bigger umbrella message here is that it's never too late, and you're never too old to try anything and everything that might bring you some joy in your life.
Got it. And what does your daily routine look like right now? Is roller skating a huge part of what you do?
It is my me time. It is my 100%. I at least carve out every day 15, if not 15 minutes to almost 2 hours. It's part of my daily routine.
Got it. And how has social media helped shape this process for you?
Social media, it's connected me to people, to the community, to other people who are on the same journey. I feel like roller skating, I think that's what made it pop off too, was so many people, all we had was the internet to connect to other people when the pandemic was happening. So to have that community still built in, even though we weren't seeing each other, just to do it online, that's what, bless social media, honestly. Bless it.
And, I see that you are also on your social media, you have a lot of she, her, the importance of gender neutrality. Yes. And yes. Gender pronouns are the terms people choose to refer to themselves that reflect their gender identity. And these might be he, him, she, her, or gender neutral pronouns such as they, them. And knowing and using a person's correct pronouns fosters inclusion and makes people feel so much more respected and valued, and really affirms their gender identity. Talk to me about why this is important to you.
We just live in a day and age now where we need to be more open-minded and understand that whatever way that we think, there are so many other ways that people might think as well. And we are in a place and time where, like with social media, with the internet, we're opening ourselves up to more ideas from so many different places and people. So for me, even when I'm addressing, the influencer thing is, hey guys, I say, hey y'all. So it is more inclusive, just thinking about those little things like, am I excluding somebody right now by saying what I'm saying? Just being more aware.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you're so connected and emotionally mature about this. And I love that you're using roller skating as a means of release, energy, and connecting with your fans, so to speak. Now, the original Flippers Boogie Palace is right there in West Hollywood in LA. And that's kind of, like I said earlier, it served as a mecca for this really kind of uninhibited fun for those who love roller skating. So this is kind of where why it's returning to New York City with the mission of uniting people, similar to what you are doing. Talk to me about your vision and plan with this new inspiration, and how you plan to use this to continue to inspire people. Is it through more tutorials? Is it through, social media outreach? What is it?
So right now I'm actually, because of the thing about roller skating, which is amazing, it really teaches you fall down 9 times, get up 10. And it's really about applying that to the rest of your life, not just in roller skating. So now I'm more broad range, including all different aspects of my life, like how I pick myself up when I am sad, when I lose somebody, when something's going on in your life that isn't perfect. How do you recover from that? And how do you, fulfill your purpose in life despite the things that might stop you or get in your way, to just keep going. That's what literally keep rolling with it.
Keep right. It's very symbolic. Okay, we have about a minute left. We're going to do Q&A. It's going to be rapid fire questions, and you have to answer rapid fire answers. Okay, you ready to go? Spiritual or religious?
Spiritual.
Left or right?
Right.
Black or white?
Black.
Half full or half empty?
Oh, half full.
Web 2 or Web 3?
Web 2.
Metaverse or real world?
Oh, real world.
Digital or traditional?
Digital.
There you go. Okay, cool. Well, now we have some insight on Rubina. We've run out of time, but I just want to thank you for coming on. It was really special having you, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Keep rolling with it.
Absolutely, guys. Definitely check her out all over social media. She's on the gram @with Rubina. And that's the @ with Rubina. And she's also on Linktree /with Rubina. That was our influencer segment, brought to us by Caldwell Soames. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Revere Securities. Revere is committed to building a relationship of trust in which they work closely with you to help you define your objectives, explore alternatives, and choose the financial and investment strategies that are most appropriate for you. Go to reveresecurities.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. In our Business and Buzz segment today, we are featuring Brett Berish, President and CEO of Sovereign Brands, a family-owned international wine and spirits company headquartered right here in New York City, which sells its portfolio of products in more than 100 countries globally. Today, we are chatting digital marketing, also called online marketing, which is the promotion of brands to connect with potential customers using the internet and other forms of digital communication. And when you think of digital marketing, some forms may come to mind that are basic: search engine optimization, otherwise known as SEO, pay-per-click, otherwise known as PPC, social media marketing, content marketing, email marketing, mobile marketing, marketing analytics, and affiliate marketing. That's a lot of marketing. Now, Brett and his company have developed some of the world's hottest brands, including the smash hit Luc Bellerin of French sparkling wines, which has earned global acclaim for its exquisite taste and very striking package, and is the fastest growing French sparkling wine in the world. Now, Sovereign's portfolio also includes Bumbu, a craft rum from Barbados that ranks amongst the world's most critically acclaimed rums and is already the best-selling brand in the U.S. premium rum category, as well as McQueen and the Violet Fog, a small batch gin from Brazil, which was awarded a 93-point score by wine enthusiasts. Now, Sovereign's newest release, Viche, is revolutionizing the cognac liqueur category. And Brett has been profiled by Forbes, Crain's Chicago's Business, and MarketWatch, recognized by Goldman Sachs as one of the 100 most intriguing entrepreneurs at the Goldman Sachs Builders Plus Innovators Summit. He's also been invited to speak on popular radio shows, including The Breakfast Club, right here on our platform. And he is the perfect candidate for commentary on digital advertising and where brands are headed in this digital process. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Oh, God, I love that intro. I felt so special. I never feel special.
You are special. You are so special. So, Brett, walk me through Sovereign Brands' vision.
Zen, it's been the same for 22 years. My goal is to create brands in categories I drink that are better than the competition. That's my goal. And what better means is from the liquid's most important, but the packaging, the look and feel, the identity, the branding. My goal is to make something iconic that'll live forever. And that's what a great brand can become.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, when you look at overall, right, and you look at the market, more and more celebrities, and you do this very well, more and more celebrities are cheering the launch of really their own kind of boozy spirit brands. And, this includes from the Kendall Jenners of the world with her 818 tequila. You have Dwayne The Rock Johnson and his Terramana tequila. You have Matthew McConaughey and his Wild Turkey Long Branch bourbon, right? So I really commend you for being able to not only have these brands that are just really very well positioned in the market, but then you back it up with celebrities and with influencers. And then that's just the perfect creation when you talk about influencer marketing. Talk to me about how you have been so ahead of the curve when it comes to combining social media marketing and these brands.
Well, I think first it comes down to I'm not trying to find celebrities or influencers to work with. To me, it's all about the brand. So I didn't enter the industry or the space to, boy, if I could just find the right celebrity to back this, it's going to be huge. Like ultimately, my goal is the product. If the product tastes great, it's going to win. That's my goal. Everything else that's come about, and if in using the word influencer marketing, the way I look at it is it's a long-term proposition. I'm not smart enough to know who can make my brand successful. However, I do know I enjoy working with people who I really like, who love what I'm doing, who are passionate for my industry, who have passion for my space, who I've built a relationship with over time. And you know what? If we see it eye to eye and there's something we can do together, great, let's do it. So to me, I call it's organic. It's very much organic. I'm not backing into it, looking at somebody's numbers and saying, Jesus, this guy's really hot or this girl's really hot. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is they love what we're doing. They love my product. And can we find a way to work together where they win and we win?
And you said it, organic. It's organic. When people are passionate about what they are promoting, when you have by default, you really have these influencers that do back your products. And even if you haven't gone seeking them, they have come to you because of the product that you put out, because of the marketing and the branding that ensues, all of your products. Your global sales and marketing organizations ensures each of your brands gets the support it needs, because I've seen it happen to grow and thrive. You have offices in New York and Chicago, in London and Dublin, and this really supports the efforts of your sales team. And today, Sovereign Brands products can be found for that reason in more than 100 countries, and you continue to grow and introduce these brands into new markets, essentially around the world, and you're constantly developing these new exciting products. But not everybody, Brett, is doing that, and not everybody can do that, and that takes a village. So you have managed to do it in a very organic and seamless way, and really influencer marketing just came knocking on your door.
It's the way you just described it. I completely agree in the sense of it does take a village. And the key to that is not assuming who is part of the village. I go where to me, it's like an artist finding his fans. Where are your fans? And support your fans. If it's somebody in Washington, D.C. who's promoting and drinking your product and supporting you, support them. If it's happening in Dublin, in Ireland, support them. If it's happening in Dubai, support them. So I very much, it sounds strange, but I have this philosophy of letting brands breathe. Just go where people like it and build off them, work with them to build around them, and it'll start building itself. And that's how it's worked for every one of my brands. They're all different. They're like kids. They're all different. They're all unique. They're all the same DNA, but they grow up differently, and you got to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Exactly. And what really does work though in this day and age, when you look at social media and where things are at, and the power of being able to share your product via a simple click because somebody found it profoundly tasteful or it was a really cool thing to be part of, influencers are viewed as third parties with no vested interest in promoting the brand, really. And this is the reason why 63% of consumers trust what influencers and or these celebrities on social media have to say about the brands more than what the brands say about themselves. To your point, let the brand breathe. And so inadvertently, we have the rise of influencer marketing, and that's expected to become a $23 billion industry by the year 2024. And one of the most common questions asked by these small businesses is, do we need a huge budget to do influencer marketing? Because right away they see celebrities attaching themselves and then they think they have to pay for that. And to a certain extent, it may be true. But what you've managed to do very organically is that these influencers and musicians and celebrities and all the people that you're working with naturally are drawn to sovereign brands and the product that you put out there, that for you, it's essentially free marketing.
But I think what we're missing is, at the end of the day, is the product good?
Yeah.
Is the product exceptional? Does it speak? Does it have the legs? It's almost like, and I was thinking about this recently, Zen, it's like Netflix. When you hear about a great show, it's not because someone's advertising the show. It's because you heard it from a friend, Succession or whatever it might be. Like someone talked about it and heard it, and therefore it gets in your psyche. That's what I'm building. Is I'm not smart enough to know who the next influencer is who's going to make the brand. However, if there's enough people talking about it and making it special, it'll build upon itself. So at the end, it's always about the brand. Is the brand good enough? Is it good? Is it great? Is it get talk value based on what's inside the bottle? Because you can't, if it's crap, you can't promote it. It doesn't matter. They're never going to come back again.
Exactly. And people are very, very opinionated these days. I mean, one wrong move, if your product doesn't fit the standards of the competitors, and like you said, your history, right? You're just as good as the last product you put out there. And having the backing and having so much exposure on social media even puts you more at peril, so to speak, because to your point, if you don't have something good and that product isn't really, sustaining the criticism, so to speak, then at the end you have nothing. So when you look at influencer marketing as a digital marketing method, you have to, of course, like you said, make sure you have a good product. But when you promote a brand or products by partnering with, powerful personalities or bloggers, and you're leveraging the influence that these personalities have over their followers to reach your social media marketing goals in an organic way, that's where it's at right now, that digital advertising agencies are looking to infiltrate and penetrate. So we are predicting, and listen to this, Brett, that influencer marketing spending is now predicted to pass $3 billion in the US and nearly $14 billion worldwide this year, because customer engagement can be 8 to 10 times higher when the content is a creator's sponsored post on behalf of a brand rather than just a random ad from the brand itself.
100%. It's as simple as saying, boy, if you gave 10 friends sent them a bottle of Bel Air, that has more impact than if I sent your same 10 friends a bottle of Bel Air on my behalf. It means more if it's coming from you. Or if you look at my social media following, take my two big brands, Bel Air and Bumbu. On Bumbu, I have more followers than Captain Morgan and Bacardi. It makes no sense. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising and I spend none, yet I have more followers. So what that does for me when I'm not advertising, it tells me I'm connecting with the consumer. There's something I'm doing. I don't know exactly what the Midas touch is, but there's collectively what I'm doing is working, where I'm connecting with the consumer. Bel Air too, we have more followers than Vouv, than Smirnoff, than Patron, than Grey Goose, than Tito's. I'm doing something right where that collection is working, and it's a real connection with the consumer because we matter to them. That's what's powerful.
And that's how I met you, right? So I'm going to big shout out there to NPR Richie Rich Big shout out there, brother. Thanks for the connection. But when I came to Sovereign Brands in New York City and I looked around, I realized very quickly that you had one major power in your hand. One of the major reasons why influencer marketing is so effective is because the content is produced by influencers, and that's perceived to be more authentic, right, than what you're creating. And you have all of them doing it willingly, kind of, promoting the liquors that they're behind, promoting the brands that they stand behind. And when these influencers get up there and give you a shout out, you have all of their following that just ensues. So you're riding that wave and you're positioned in a great place, but you really don't stop working. You're everywhere, Brett.
No, but at the same time, we're supporting them. We're supporting them in different ways, whether it's shooting their content, whether it's creating videos for them, whether it's introduction and collabs on music, whether it's collaborating on our materials, because our brands to me are part of culture. They're part of fashion. It's part of it. To me, my brands are couture. So I want to mix their branding with mine, and both sides benefit. And that's where it gets back to, everyone, a lot of people think you gotta, there's one class or one person or one somebody that you want to work with. I look at it as just the opposite. I want to work with lots of different people, because that's what my brand represents, is lots of different people and lots of different ideas coming together.
Yeah, and listen, this is why you are the CEO of Sovereign Brands. We are out of time. It was such a great segment, and I love chatting with you because you're so full of insight, and what you've built is pretty incredible. And I take my hat off to you, brother. Good job.
Keep drinking. That's all I can say.
And I love that. Keep drinking. Guys, you definitely have to check out Brett Berish. He has his own website. Pretty cool. BrettBerish.com with 2 T's. You can check him out on the gram at Brett Berish CEO, and definitely check out their amazing, amazing line of liqueurs at Sovereign Brands. That was our Business and Buzz segment, brought to you by Revere Securities. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
If you've missed out dining in New York City for the past year, it's time to visit the legendary Viche Cucina. Located in the heart of Midtown, Viche specializes in blending delicious Northern Italian and American cuisine with dishes such as the incredible taglione lobster, ravioli masala, ossobuco, and pappardelle al telefono, along with many other mouthwatering offerings. You deserve a great night out. Call Viche Cucina, 212-757-2600, or online at vichecucina.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Now, up next in our Millennial Mom segment, brought to us by Viche Cucina, I picked the feature of the week, and today I'm featuring my really good friend, Sari Katz. She's an advanced cosmetic injector and co-founder of Velour Medical and a dermatologist PA. She and I are chatting with teen entrepreneur Fiona Frills, CEO of clean beauty brand Frilliance. Now, the brand was founded by Fiona, who is a global teen influencer with close to 1 million followers on YouTube. Fiona launched the brand after years of struggling with brands that didn't understand teen skin. Now, Frilliance recently hit Walmart stores across America. And today we are chatting about the clean beauty rage and how important all natural, sustainable ingredients are to this generation. Now, young people are increasingly incorporating anti-aging products and treatments into their beauty routines. And in 2012, fewer than 20% of US women between 18 and 24 years old considered anti-aging skincare to be important. But by the year 2018, more than 50% of 18 to 24-year-old women said they wanted to add wrinkle-defying products into their routine. Now, some younger beauty consumers say they're acting on an informed, science-first approach to skincare, while others profess a fear of premature aging. Brands have made the fear of looking older into a very lucrative business, with the anti-aging market predicted to pull in over $88 billion in global sales by the year 2026. And here to chat clean and honest beauty. So skin investors, right, are informed investigative and favors science-first derma and skin tech brands really backed by evidence. So the marketing of anti-aging products has really shifted to focus on science and proof. And I know Sari has a lot of opinions when it comes to skin products, being that she is one of the leading providers in dermatology. But Sari, why don't you go ahead and give us your opinion on where these anti-aging products are in the clean beauty range that we're talking about, because everybody's jumping on board here. And then why don't you take it away with some thoughtful questions for Fiona?
Absolutely. I mean, this industry, like you said, Zen, it's growing by the second. It's incredible how much focus has shifted on beauty, maintaining youth, reversing signs of aging and sun damage. And I think the more we head into that sector, the more change we're going to see in our skincare lines, the more clean products we're going to see, because the truth is most of these treatments or medications involve chemicals. So I really love what Fiona has done here and what she is going to bring to this younger next generation. So Fiona, that brings me to a question for you. It says on your website that these products are junk free. Can you elaborate exactly what that means?
Absolutely. There is so many products out there that are filled with just so many extra ingredients. They can be preservatives, parabens, phthalates, all of the gunk, all of the junk. And it's junk free. It's also a very easy word to use because like non-comedogenic is such a weird long word. So it's like an easier way of putting that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from my experience in treating dermatology patients, I had a lot of young patients that were prone to acne, just even from hormonal changes. And then there would be this cycle of putting makeup on top to hide the acne that would only make the acne worse by clogging the pores. So yeah, you're right on there. This is definitely an important step in getting that skin to clear up, is having a little less gunk clogging. So what gave you this idea in general for the skincare line?
It was honestly me going through such a struggle with my skin. I was constantly asking people like questions. I was like, how do I fix this? Like, what do I do? And like, I would do all this research, and I could not find any products that are really developed for teens. A lot of the products are more targeted towards older people, and it just doesn't work that well on this like fresh, really sensitive skin. So the idea sparked, and I went to a lab in California and we started creating these products. And it has been such a joy really being hands-on with this.
So how does it work with your program? Do you incorporate dermatology appointments at all? Where does the dermatologist fall into play here?
For us personally, we use a lot of like lab testing. So we send our products to different labs across like the nation, and they test our products. They like make sure that the ingredients are scientifically not going to have a bad reaction with other people's skin. So it's a bunch of different labs, and it's a really cool process, and it takes a while. It takes on average like 6 months, which is quite crazy.
It's interesting because Sari, when you incorporate a dermatological skincare approach, in the sense that you do seek care under a dermatologist who can help diagnose and help really guide you with your skincare issues. And of course, your dermatologist can also recommend the best products out there. But I feel like a lot of youth, when you ask the question to Fiona, they skip right over the dermatology part because they are doing their research on the internet. And a lot of them are not seeking any kind of dermatological advice until it's too late. So I always say that prevention is very important with respect to your skin. And I want to move it along here because we have about 3 minutes left. But interestingly enough, some brands seem to be homing in on the junior demographic like Fiona's. And last year, clinical skincare brand Murad recruited high school influencers to promote their top rejuvenating serums on Instagram. And Murad was unable to provide further comment on this strategy because at the end of the day, the youth are a very lucrative market for consumerism. And because the young, especially very young, are dominated by their desires to really feed into what's going on into the market trends. Fiona, this is interesting to me, but do you feel like your generation is heavily influenced by what influencers are promoting?
Yes and no. It depends on the type of video and the like platform that it's on. Let's say like TikTok, for example, you can like genuinely see when someone is so like genuine about a product. Like you can see it in their eyes, you can see it like in their voice. They're like, "Oh my God, like I like love this." So when it's super genuine, absolutely. We are suckers for new products for sure. But when it's sponsored content, we do not react that well with it. We're like, we don't trust that.
Right.
So it has to be organic and it has to be genuine. But absolutely, my whole entire life is like, I swear, like a bunch of influencers like promoting stuff. I'm like, my tree is like something that I saw on Instagram. I was like, oh my God. But yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it. I love it. Now we have about a minute and a half left. Sari, very quickly, let's talk about, and both of you are going to answer this, but very short answers. So preventative Botox, right? We've all heard of this expression, but Botox is Botox. It's just marketing. Botox wears off every 3 to 4 months. And then, you need to get more Botox. So when I see dermatologists on TikTok telling their followers that the best age to start preventative Botox is 23, it just makes me want to scream. Sari, what are your thoughts? And Fiona, what are your thoughts?
So yeah, I mean, Botox is definitely, it works two ways. It actually reverses lines, right? If you start on a good regimen and do it every 3 to 4 months, but it actually also works to prevent lines by weakening the muscle of our expression that's creating those lines in the skin. I do believe that preventative Botox does play a role here, but I will send away patients that are very young that don't quite need it. Because, first off, this is still a medication. We don't want to build up a resistance to a medication. We don't want to overuse a medication if we don't need it. But secondly, I don't want to create this pretense of, oh, you have to do this or you're not going to age right, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a role of skincare, there's a role of these medications. And I think it has to make sense for that individual for what their anatomy is like, but
For their
also
own needs.
where they are in their life. Right?
Yes. And Fiona, very quickly, because I don't want to run time. What are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts are it really depends on the person. I just don't think they should be influenced by it, by someone saying like you have to do it, like you have to do this. That is absolutely not the way it should be. It should be like you doing the research and really understanding it, and it's okay if that's the case.
Beautiful. I love it. Girls, thank you so much for coming on. This was a great little segment. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Nice meeting you, Fiona.
Yes, nice meeting you.
Definitely check out Fiona Frills on the gram at Fiona Frills, or head to her website, Frilliance.com, and definitely check out Sari at Skin by Sari on the gram, and head to VelourMedical.com. That was our Millennial Mom segment, brought to you by Viche Cucina. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CCP Digital, bringing you a view from inside blockchain, cryptocurrency, and NFTs. Introducing the latest Blockchain Heroes series, Retro Rebellion NFT collectible card packs from the Nifty Company. Available January 2022. Find out more online at ccpdigital.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Coming up in our Crypto Frontier segment, brought to you by CCP Digital, we are joined by Chris Pulley, CEO of CCP Digital, a decade-old digital advertising agency with unique access and knowledge in the blockchain and cryptocurrency industries. Today, he is joined by Mr. Jim Rao, founder and managing partner of Entoro Capital, an investment bank and advisory group for traditional and digital securities. Now, Jim has over 30 years of experience in capital raising, equity and debt securities, commodities and digital securities, and so much more. But we need to cap his bio at some place. And today we're chatting about the rise of digital currencies in our current environment and the rules and regulations surrounding them. Now, back in February, the Super Bowl was America's most watched television event of the year to date. And this year, the sector with the most advertising was crypto. The crypto ecosystem of digital money, non-fungible tokens, digital wallets, and trading platforms this year caught old Joel's attention with the release of the White House's new executive order. Its aim is to ensure responsible development of digital assets. And broadly speaking, the White House is seeking to strike the right balance from the positives of crypto, like financial efficiency, inclusion, American leadership, in global finance with basically its negatives: potential illicit financing, consumer and business abuse, and regulatory arbitrage. All bad things. Now, cryptocurrencies and digital assets offer huge value to financial markets if you think of it. Not only do they lay a foundation for innovation and technology that really reinvigorates the traditional makeup of financial services, they open the financial space for more affordable and accessible finance. And boom, this is something that the executive order acknowledges and encourages further exploration of. And here to chat some more are my experts at hand. Welcome to the show, my dear friends.
Thank you, Zen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, welcome back, Chris. Nice to see you again. And thank you for making these segments even better by featuring experts in the crypto and Web 3.0 space. Jim, so excited to have you on, and congrats on all your recent success at eToro. Okay, Jim, let's go back to speaking to the White House's executive order regarding cryptocurrency. Now, the order does not set out new regulations, but instead encourages the closing of regulatory gaps and encourages regulators to ensure sufficient oversight of the risks posed by digital assets. Now, there's no doubt that with this new exploration, we're going to see new regulations, or at the very least, the broadening of existing regulatory parameters for cryptocurrency. But from your point of view, why is it important to have transparent systems in place to truly have decentralized currencies?
Well, to me, it's very important because what we've had is a very unknown environment here for the last 4 to 5 years. In fact, companies have been trying to get guidance out of the U.S. government for, since probably 2013, 14, and without any steering, et cetera. And it took forever just to get BTC to be deemed a commodity. And there's still a fair number of unknowns, but you can't really get a sector or an industry to grow unless you have some guidelines and standards. And hopefully we get that coming out of the U.S. government. Other governments around the world have been much more advanced and proactive in it. The U.S. has been a laggard and somewhat embarrassing, and we hopefully can catch up a little bit. It would be good for all of us.
That's very true. And investors are likely to get hurt if stricter regulations is not introduced. Plus, the IRS has an obvious interest in making sure investors, know how to report virtual currency when they file their taxes. And like most things with cryptocurrency, regulation does come with hurdles. So we definitely have a long way to go. Chris, I'm going to shift this to you. Let's talk about this crypto ETF approval. So there's already been a major breakthrough on this front, with the first Bitcoin ETF making its debut on the New York Stock Exchange this last October. And the development represents a new and more conventional way to invest in crypto. And the Bitcoin ETF allows investors to buy in on cryptocurrency directly from traditional investment brokerages they may already have accounts with, like Fidelity or Vanguard. Okay, so we see this in the equity market as well as in the bond market. So I guess people might want to hear, what do you say to this? Safe, unsafe?
Well, really, we've got the expert here on this call when it comes to the regulation and the security side. But from a generalist perspective, it definitely feels safe compared to the current investing environment that's available. So having it accessible through trusted sources and through regulated parties just seems like it's going to open up the ability for traditional investors and maybe the baby boomer generation with all the money to have access now into this new economy.
Yeah, very true. And, ETF approval has been in consideration by the SEC multiple times over the past few years, but BITO is the first to gain approval. So, some say that the BITO ETF is not enough because while the fund is linked to Bitcoin, it doesn't actually hold the crypto directly. And the fund instead holds Bitcoin futures contracts, right? So while Bitcoin futures follow the general trends of the actual crypto, it may not track the price of Bitcoin directly. So for now, investors must continue waiting for an ETF that holds Bitcoin directly, in my opinion. And this is something that, Jim could weigh in on even further when we talk about, what new regulations could mean for investors, Jim. So I'm going to segue a little bit because this is one of the most important questions that we pulled out of 500, but it pertains to the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill signed by Biden in November. It includes crypto tax reporting provisions provisions that could make it easier for the IRS to track crypto activity among Americans. That's why experts say investors should keep records of any capital gains or losses on their crypto assets. Are we facing a crypto tax filing fiasco, and how does an investor lessen this potential IRS tax burden?
Yes, we are facing that. Just like if you were trading stocks or bonds, you need to keep track of your gains and losses in cryptocurrency. In fact, there are, I know of at least 3 software programmer companies that have developed new technologies to manage that, because they're a lot more sophisticated than just tracking stocks and bonds. So yes, it is going to be a train wreck. And at the end of the day, from the regulatory standpoint, it's less concerned. You got to remember, Uncle Sam wants his tax dollars more than he wants regulatory activity. So it's the tax dollars that are going to drive a lot of these activities.
Interesting. So I guess exchanges are going to have to issue like a 1099-B tax form with cost basis information to investors. And I guess ultimately, I mean, I do believe regulation is a good thing for the industry. It gives people more confidence in crypto, but I think it's something that we have to take our time and we have to get it right. Chris, crypto exchanges. This is something you and I have talked about a lot. Crypto exchanges have been historically opaque, allowing their operators to generate profits without accountability before governments or even their customers. And many exchanges have been accused of wash trading, front running, or freezing customer balances. So exchanges may have to register as broker dealers. You're very familiar with this. What do you say to this, in your opinion, from a business perspective?
Well, and again, with Jim here, I'm going to even volley back over there because we're deep in this regulatory component and then the operational component. Jim's been involved in this side and actually our resident expert and even our partner on our new Web3 venture fund. So Jim, why don't you keep going?
If you want me to field, I'd be happy to field that.
Right, sweet spot. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you've basically got 3 major retail crypto exchanges. You got Binance, you've got FTX, and you've got Coinbase. So you have the 3 big ones, and there's a lot of them. I mean, there's probably 1,000 crypto exchanges around the world, and there's been plenty of examples where the trading gets going, the one thing leads to another. They can't fill orders, and they'll literally shut down for days. They're going to be shut down for weeks at a time. So there has been some serious issues when it comes to those activities. Now, the big 3, FTX, and they're all bifurcated too. Most of their activities are U.S. and then non-U.S. activities. So you don't get all the same products as you do on a U.S. exchange. You probably see 25 to 30% of what that Coinbase, like Binance would offer in a non-U.S. exchange. So there can be a lot of activities. Now, the reporting and everything as far as being BDs, etc. If you think it's bad from a regulatory standpoint in the U.S., there's literally another 100 jurisdictions around the world trying to figure out where they want to be. So at some point, there's got to be a global agreement on some of these activities. Now, what the market wants to see is some guidance, but not over-regulation. And in the U.S., we have a tendency to don't let a good thing go unspoiled here, and ended up ramping up the regulatory activity so much that it ends up squashing the innovation of it. And that's what scares many people like myself, because our shop was early on in the STO markets 5 years ago. We did the first NFT as a security in the world. We want to see innovation, but there's nothing wrong with a little bit of regulatory guidance. So there's a balance.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the SEC warned that it regards many cryptocurrencies as investment securities, especially those issued in an initial coin offering, right, an ICO. So, security trades are strictly regulated, so meaning that anyone who issued, sold, or even traded these tokens could be in violation of investment laws. And this leads me into the next question. And, while technology and trends change quickly in the blockchain space, security laws really don't. So this is both for both of you, right? What must investors be aware of to not get in trouble with the law? So from your legal perspective to say a company like CCP Digital that's at the forefront of all of these changes. Questions for both of you, my friends. Jim, you go first.
I'd be happy to. Look, it's in the US, you have a very different system. We have the onus is a lot on the issuer. whereas many other jurisdictions around the world, it's on buyer beware, caveat emptor, right? So, but in the U.S., we have a totally different structure. So really, it's the issuer's responsibility to make sure that everything is in a compliant nature. That does not relieve the buyer or the investor of being practical or doing the review, but the onus is really on the issuer. Now, as a broker dealer, we perform a service that actually makes sure that the issuer is in compliance before they go to a particular U.S. investor. I'm going to speak as a U.S. context. So if we could end up in a situation that is much more friendly to the issuers, that would be good. But if you're looking at whether or not something is a security or not a security, look, if you look back at the ICO world, those were clearly securities, and the SEC was correct on its July 25th, 2017, statement saying stop, and they were right. Those were securities. So look, now you see things, and I would argue that about a third of the NFTs that are issued in the U.S. are securities. Now, they may not be securities outside the U.S., but as a security because they violate the Howey rule and a number of other, I don't want to go too deep in that, but they violate some of the securities rules.
Yeah, it's true. And I want to get Chris's perspective here. And just to circle back to that, this is for example, Ripple is now deep in litigation surrounding its XRP token, which it continued to sell on the market after the SEC issued its warning. And many ICO companies, to your point, have been fined or settled out of court. So, Chris, what are your thoughts here from the flip side of things?
Well, and you say from the flip side, so I'll speak from a blockchain and crypto enthusiast. I'm an operator in the industry. We're growing and developing and launching companies. And again, we started the venture fund here with Jim because of all of the opportunities and the ability to bring projects to the market properly. And that means legally, compliance, with all the business metrics in place. So what I'm witnessing as an operator here in the industry is the maturing of the industry, the bringing of some regulation to create some standards and safety. And it's a new world. So I'm fortunate to be in a place where I see both sides. I've got a 35-year career in traditional business, and now I've been really drinking from this fire hose for 5 or 6 years, and I've seen the depths because of our position, all of the great new exciting projects, and then I'm also watching the amazing businesses that are now transforming maybe a traditional model into a blockchain Web3 model and bringing the compliance and the traditional guidelines that we've used in the past. So it's a new world, but it's definitely a blending of the new culture and technology with the the regulations and the protections that are needed for a broader investment community.
Yeah, there you go. Well said. Well, we're out of time. Thank you so much both for joining. Jim, it was a pleasure having you on. Chris, thank you so much for bringing on these very, very enlightening guests. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Zen.
Guys, you definitely have to check out eToro. Go to eToro.com. That was Mr. Jim Rao, founder and managing partner at eToro Capital. And that was CEO of CCP Digital, Chris Pulley. That was our Crypto Frontier segment brought to us by CCP. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Zen Sams. Welcoming back to our Crypto Frontier segment, we are chatting with Chris Pulley, CEO at CCP Digital, and Jim Rao from eToro. And we're picking up our conversation about the crypto regulations and what this means for investors. Now, Jim, stable coins may face greater scrutiny, and another likely focus for regulators is stable coins right now, blockchain tokens whose value is pegged to the dollar or other fiat currency. Okay, so most stable coins back their peg by keeping large reserves or cash, treasuries, or other low-risk assets. Will stablecoins attract the attention of the SEC since the commission considers crypto exchanges as de facto securities brokers, which means the majority of stablecoins trades are also securities transactions? What do you say to this?
Oh, absolutely. So not only is it going to attract SEC, it's going to attract CFTC and other regulatory bodies in the United States. And in fact, there are 4 different types of stable coins. Fiat is the primary one, and you can have commodity ones, etc. And historically, they were backed 1-to-1. So 100 USDT was backed by US dollars, right? And that is actually diversion. Now they're going into liquid securities, etc. So will they be under scrutiny? Without question, and they probably should be, and because effectively they're a digital dollar.
So, Chris, knowing where we're headed on the regulatory side with the regulations and the way that we are now essentially merging TradeFi and DeFi, what kind of investment opportunities do you think lay ahead for investors who are really looking to take this extremely seriously?
The investment outlook is phenomenal. The innovation that we're seeing coming through the industry itself, with the innovation of the blockchain developers and the technologies, but also with the traditional business worlds, specifically in the U.S. where I'm operating, with phenomenal projects and executives that are bringing great ideas, even things from the past, right? Things we've seen were tried in the maybe the late 60s and 70s. From a creative perspective, can now be deployed because of the technology. And the investment outlook, I think, is extremely exciting, as even we've partnered with GEM to help bring some projects to market in an investable form that can have, that investors can have access to in a more traditional way. As we found, one of the challenges from anyone on the outside trying to look in is trying to understand exactly how value is being created and literally sometimes what's going on. I mean, we just had people paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for gas fees so they could buy a little piece of land to be part of the Bored Apes virtual world. And I don't expect anybody from an investor perspective to get that, invest in that, ever feel comfortable. But the projects generating real value and bringing things to the retail public, there's a big investment pipeline building now.
Yeah, there's definitely, I see it happen. It's unfolding right before our very eyes, and Web 3.0 is coming into full force. And I always tell people, the only fear you should have is not being part of it, because this is where we are headed. And then, this is another trending question, and I'll revert back to Jim, and you can answer this too, because I know that, Chris, you and I have had conversations about this, but new tokens right now are facing may face regulation. So although the SEC has directed most of its enforcement actions against ICOs, recent years have seen the introduction of new types of blockchain tokens, from decentralized lending to non-fungible tokens. And many of the new projects appear to sidestep existing regulations, either by working without a central operator or because the tokens represent something, innocuous, like in-game objects or digital artworks. Jim, can NFTs be subject to securities laws if they are purchased as investments?
Absolutely. Just because somebody's issuing, they believe is an NFT, which really should be called an NFA, non-fungible asset, instead of token. Token is usually reserved for equities. But in the concept of an NFT, and we'll go along with, you can have all the features of a security. You may call it an elephant, but it may be a duck. And the SEC is going to say that's a security. And it doesn't matter how you frame it. It's what the underlying aspects of it are. So what makes it a security is if it has an option to it. It has cash flow, aftermarket cash flow opportunity. There's a number of things, I don't want to go into it right now, but there's a number of things that make it a security. If you're just selling a simple print, that is not that's an asset, not a security.
Got it. So people have to really be careful here, and they have to have a really deep understanding of what they are purchasing and what this entails. And at the end of the day, how they're going to be taxed on this. Well, that's another great segment. Chris, thank you so much for bringing on Jim. Jim, it was so enlightening talking to you. Thank you so much for all the information you've provided us today.
Thank you, Zen.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Overall, Bitcoin is a good indicator of the crypto market in general, because it's the largest cryptocurrency by market cap, and the rest of the market tends to follow its trends. Institutional adoption means for investors, that's where we're headed right now. And it's paying for things in cryptocurrency that we are going to start to see more and more of. So we are definitely headed into the next phase of Web 3.0. That was Chris Pulley, CEO of CCP Digital, and Jim Rao and Toro.com. Definitely check them out. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Revere Securities. Revere is committed to building a relationship of trust in which they work closely with you to help you define your objectives, explore alternatives, and choose the financial and investment strategies that are most appropriate for you. Go to reveresecurities.com.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. or go to 710WOR.iheart.com/A Moment of Zen. Remember that we're now on TV. Remember to download the KP Media TV app on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or even Android TV. You could tune in at watch.kpmedia.tv and catch us on the Impact Live channel Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern. All episodes are now available on demand. We are a quad platform show. You could find us on TV, on the radio, on social media, and pretty much everywhere. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Of course, thanks again to all of our sponsors. And remember, happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it.